I'll introduce myself. I'm Amy Kretsch. I'm with Epson. I am the sales rep. I'm not usually a trainer, but I've done so many of the installs and sales and whatnot, so hopefully this works for you. Terry knows that. I'm not a trainer by trade, but so hopefully my background is in K-12, and I used to be a teacher a long, long time ago for many, many years, and so I've been with Epson for 8 years. I'm based out of Minneapolis, and so I travel my 6-state territory like mad, and I sell a ton of these BrightLinks, so hopefully we'll get to the bottom of all your thoughts. You can see this already, you're pretty knowledgeable about it, but when people ask you, first and foremost, this is an ultra short throw projector. So look at how much shadowing I have, which is phenomenal, like basically just my hand and not my body and basically not even my head as I walk past. So it's a pretty beautiful thing to have this. We used to have a lot of the smart boards or the Promethean boards, and you got the ceiling mounted projector, and you end up doing this because you're trying to get out of the shadow of your projector. So the great thing about this, and you know this, there's 2 pens, and then there's this touchy finger touch box up here. Okay, so basically what we're doing is we're using IR to allow for interactivity. So IR with the finger, how that works is there's an IR curtain that comes down across this board, which is perfectly smooth and flat, and it's amazing, and that's really important. You have to have a smooth, flat board. And it actually sees when I start to engage with that curtain. I'm not quite touching the board right now, but I'm engaging with it. So that's different from an interactive board where you actually have to push on the board and engage the material behind the board, okay? So people who come from Smart or Promethean may have a little bit of a learning curve in the fact that they might see a second finger dragging because they're engaging this finger within that IR curtain along with this finger. So folks who are using or seeing double lines or something like that probably has to do a little bit with that finger touch box. When Terry installs this or the crew installs this being completely flat is really important because you have about a 0.5 millimeter tolerance of that curtain. So really crucial for finger touch to be able to have a flat surface. The beautiful thing about it though is that with finger touch, I actually have the ability to do 6 different, whoops, doesn't like me holding my pen, but I can do 6 different points of touch at any given time. So this will register 6 points of touch, all the same color, because it can't tell any difference between my finger than anything else. You pick up the pens, which I know a lot of your staff are probably using. Briefly talk about the hardware of the pens. You've got a blue pen and you have an orange pen. Each one is a different IR frequency, which means this can be a color and this can be a color. And then that is a different IR frequency, so you can have a third color. So you've got 3 different colors. Now this color of maybe the teacher decides the blue is always going to be my eraser. You can make this the eraser and it will always remember the last thing you did, that it's an eraser. It's hard to see here, but there's a blue pen with the eraser. So now every time I pick this pen up, it's going to be the eraser. And it'll just remember what I did last, right? And so then this is the orange pen. Notice I go to red. Now the orange pen shows red. This can be red. This is still eraser. And my finger can be black or blue, whatever I last selected with my finger, right? So you've got 3 different colors at any given time. Let's talk briefly about the pens. They use 1 AA battery. Okay, there's a rechargeable battery pack that we have. If they're using them a lot, they may need to switch them out every 2 to 3 weeks. It really just depends. If they're using their finger a lot, you probably don't have to change these out very often. There's a button on the pen, and once you touch the button, the green light comes on, but it doesn't stay on. It'll stay on the pen will stay on for 7 minutes, but the light does not. It's an energy saving type of thing. And all you need to do is also just tap on the board and it will also turn on. So if teachers don't want to push the button, they tap the board. It's not going to immediately start writing, but within 2 seconds it will start writing. So basically you're tapping to turn on or you're pushing the button to turn on. This button also, you can change some presets. You can make this be, right now it's a right click button. So if you're hovering over top of your computer, you can push this button and you can have it be right click. Okay, but you can also make it do other things. There's some settings in here. You can make it open the software. You can make it do some things. So this button is programmable. Pretty detailed stuff. I don't think you need to get into that, but at least know that you can do that. All right. Couple of troubleshooting things with the pens. If you drop this pen on its tip, you may, this pen tip may get stuck. Okay? And then in that case, what happens is as soon as you get here, in the direction of this projector, it might start writing, okay? Because that means it's pushed down, and it'll actually start writing from out here, because I'm pushing this down. Okay, so if that happens, try the other pen, see if that's doing the same thing. If it's not, then get a different color, grab another pen from another room, and see what's going on. It's kind of just a troubleshooting thing with the pens, because I've had that happen quite a bit. So as I mentioned that IR sensor for the pens is actually out here. I talked about this box being the finger touch sensor, right? So that has to be on the plane. But the pen, there's a sensor right up here in this projector, and as soon as I get close, it can see it. Now you see my pen point here, okay? So I said hover is on, and what hover is, it's a setting in the projector that says I'm going to let you know as soon as this pen gets in within the line of IR of this camera or this sensor here. Some teachers, instructors, that drives them crazy. They don't want to see it until they touch it. Why am I seeing this? This is not here. So you can go in and you can turn this off. It's pretty easy to find. I'm going to do that because I think it's the best experience. If you want to turn it back off again or on again, you can. So you go into the menu. All of the interactive functions are in the extended menu. So I'm going to extended. I'm going to easy interactive function. And then you see it right here, pen hovering is on. Okay, so I'm just going to click on it, and I'm going to turn it off. Uh-oh, what did I just do? I just held down the number button. Excuse me. That's a trick that I haven't taught you yet. Hold on here. Make sure I turn that off so that you can see the difference. Yep, hovering is now off. So what that means is, I'm going to clear this because there's lots of stuff on there and it drives me crazy. What that means is now when I walk up, there's no hovering, you don't see it, and you see nothing until you point and touch. And I think that probably makes sense to do. So a couple quick things. In order to calibrate the pens, let's say you touch your pen down here. You probably don't need to do this. Oh, that was interesting. Where did that black line come from? Oh, it's my remote control. As I'm holding that in my hand. That's interesting. I've never had that happen. If your pen is a little bit off, this one's actually on because we just calibrated. But if you put your pen up here and you see the tips off just a little bit, super easy to calibrate the pens. You hit the menu button once on the user button once, and it says auto calibration. And this auto calibration is only auto calibrating the pens. And I hit the user button. It basically says step away. And it's asking you to step away because it has a view of that screen and it can see shadows. Step away, and it's going to take about 12 seconds, and it's going to calibrate the pens. Now the pens are totally calibrated. So even if you're having finger touch issues ever, because something's funky with the finger touch unit, the pens are always pretty easy to calibrate. You hit it once, and the pens will be working, no problem. Okay. All right, let me look and see what else hardware-wise. So you saw me use the remote control. There's some great teaching functions on the remote control. We also have remote functions that show up at the bottom down here. You've seen this little menu come up here and there. On your remote control, we have the menu and stuff that we can get inside that projector, but most of the time teachers are not going to need this. It's a $40 expense. If it walks away, you can leave it in the room. But what's great is that BrightLink has this little guy right here, and what you can do is you can power off, okay? You can switch your sources from here. So what is the .cam?
We're just running everything through HDMI.
You are. One input. Okay, right, so you wouldn't switch it. So you may not need that source search as one. You can zoom in, so if I wanted to zoom in on this, I can zoom into something that's on here. I can AV mute, so that's a great teaching tool. Hey, focus on me. And all I have to do is tap the board and I'm back. Okay, and that's a remote function. You have freeze, so you can see that I hit this pause button, which is the freeze button, and that freezes everything, so now the teacher or instructor can go over and do whatever they need to do, leave this image up, and then they hit the freeze button to go back. And then if you have your volume running through here, no, okay, so then you'd have volume up and volume down. This guy's kind of in a spot that I'm not sure is great, but when it's closed, you can move it anywhere you want. Okay, it usually is defaulted to here, which there's a lot of stuff going on here. So you can also, in the menu, you can also put it up top if you can reach it. A lot of K-12 folks love that so that the kids aren't playing with it. But you can move that where you need to, and that's kind of a nice feature. So that replaces a lot of the functionality of the remote control. Okay.
Does that stay there, or is that just for your session at that time?
It's always here because it's actually built into the projector. So it'll,
Slide it back.
oh yeah, it'll keep. It'll remember what you did last time.
So
Yep.
if one instructor moves it, and then the next instructor comes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I believe it will stay with it. I mean, I actually think, it's not going to change if I add a computer because it's actually saving in the projector settings. So yeah, it'll stay where they move it, which could be confusing, you're right. I just know, like, maybe, and I guess maybe that's a setup thing. I just know over here because when I am in mouse mode, when I can actually, when I'm in mouse mode and I go down here, it starts to open the computer stuff sometimes. You know, you're in, it's close to some of this area. I don't know, maybe it won't be an issue. I just like to move it over a little bit, but that's totally up to you. That's a good question. It does stay in the projector. Okay, a couple other things. You'll see this every once in a while. This can be really confusing. I'll explain what it is. So the pictures are pretty self-explanatory, but unless you understand what they do, this is a computer with a mouse mode. It's basically saying, I'm looking for a computer to have mouse control, finger control. I want to find software on a computer to run me, which is this software that I've been using, which is your Easy Interactive Tools. Okay? Could be other software. It could be Smart, it could be Promethean, but here you're using an Easy Interactive Tools, right? Okay, so it's saying, please use software to use mouse control, and I have mouse control. If the instructor hits this button is basically telling it there are pen tools built into the projector, and so you don't need a computer to annotate. Okay, so if I hit that button, watch what happens. It flashes. It says I'm moving into PC-free annotation mode, and I put up my own toolbars. Okay, and what's great about that, the benefit is that if you plugged in a .cam or a Blu-ray player or an iPad or an Apple TV or any other source, not that you're doing that, but if you did, you have the ability to annotate over top of something. So for me, I could show you, there's not much up, there's nothing in here, but let's just go to HDMI 2. It'll be a blue screen. But the point is, whatever's playing here, I'd be able to mark it up. If that's a video, if that's a whatever it is. So that's why we did that. We said, hey, we know people want to annotate on something other than computers, right? Usually with Smart or anything else, you have to have a computer and you have to have annotation software. So we built that chip into the projector. It's the PC-free chip, but it confuses teachers a lot because when I go back, well, it confuses a lot of people, not just teachers. It confuses techs and everyone. They're like, oh, the annotation is working. When I go back here, notice I've got this toolbar, but then I still have this toolbar. But guess what? It's only an overlay. There's absolutely no mouse control here. So then the teacher's like, I can't understand why I can't do this. There's no control, I got nothing. It's because you're using the on-screen built-in projector tools and you're annotating over top. And it's only an overlay and there's nothing else you can do with it. You mark it up for that just-in-time teaching and then you're done. You can't export it, there's nothing you can do with it. It's literally just that just-in-time teaching. So you can turn this off. If this is confusing to folks, you can turn this menu off. I can go in and show you where to find it if you want to. I don't know if it's super confusing or not, but later? Okay. All right, so in that note, we're going to go back to the computer. These things go away, and we're back to these pen tools. Does that make sense, what that little tool is? Okay, because it gets a little funky at times. All right, let me look at I've got my agenda here just to make sure I'm going over everything. Oh, shoot, locked me out. Make sure I get all the, okay. One other thing, you can see this, but I do want to talk about the board. So this little box is for the pens, right? This is too close for having it on the board. And what I'm saying is you need to leave some space around this dry erase board. I come into a lot of scenarios and I got teachers doing that. Notice what that just did. And I've got this, and then they're like, I can't get it calibrated, it won't touch right, there's something funky. So this IR curtain absolutely needs space. Give it a lot of space, it's touchy, right? So tell them, do not give it a good 4 inches at least on each side. Don't put anything at the bottom. You need an inch at the bottom and you need some space at the top. Don't do holiday lights, guessing you don't do that here, but don't hang stuff from the tack strips. leave it open. No, they don't love that, but it's the way it is. Because it's IR, it just senses a space. And if you put stuff in its space, it's gonna start doing crazy things. That's the other thing. I was looking at that remote. If I have like a fancy, shiny bracelet on sometimes, or a watch that might have a crystal face, every once in a while, if that gets in here, it'll start drawing. It doesn't mean they can't wear jewelry, but it is an IR, something IR, and it will reflect. So sometimes if you have some funky stuff. So just, it's troubleshooting stuff. You don't have to tell people not to wear it. It's just know that if something's going on, that could be part of it. Okay, and I'm sure you don't change anything, but the other thing I always tell staff is, I know you think it could go bigger, don't touch the wide and the tele. Terry said it for a reason, and it's calibrated for a reason. So when I go into classrooms, I say, do not change it. It's set the way that it should be set, and if you want to change it, you have to recalibrate. All right, let's see. Easy Interactive Tools is coming next, which is the full online software. Couple things about the lamp. The lamp is rated to run 4,000 to 5,000 hours. It's $49 replacement, which is pretty affordable. But if a staff member is going to leave for more than 30 minutes, they should power down the projector. Otherwise, AV mute is sufficient if they're going to be gone for just a short while. And that's just for lamp savings. So it's hard on the projector if you're turning it on and off every 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, so they can just hit AV mute and walk out, right? But if it's going to be longer than 30 minutes, my suggestion would be to actually power it down. Takes about 1.5 minutes to power back up again. But that's going to be your best lamp savings, is to AV mute. When you AV mute, what this does is it actually puts it in eco hours. Whoops, excuse me. When you AV mute, you can go down to info. You'll see normal hours, that's how long the projector's been on, and eco hours will show anything that's been in AV mute, or unless you actually switch this projector down into eco mode. Okay, but so just so you know, it doesn't completely turn it off. It still uses lamp life, but it's minimal lamp life, and it's the very lowest, coolest running lamp life. So, so AV mute is a good tool for your staff to save on lamp prices. Okay, let's talk about the tools. I'm actually going to close out of the tools so I can show you what they look like and where they are from the beginning. Okay. Easy Interactive Tools looks like this. It is 4.11 is what you have. We'll upgrade it maybe 2 times a year, but sometimes there's no need to upgrade it. Sometimes it's a little, you know, an add-on, or like our most recent upgrade was to make it work better with our Epson dock cams. Doesn't really have anything to do with your dock cam here, but so I don't know that you need to re-download it every time, but Easy Interactive Tools is the computer-based annotation software that we have that's free. You could download this at home. Anyone can download it, it's free. Whatever you need to do with it, we just want folks to be able to have it, so it's available on our website. When they open it for the very first time, they get something called the home box. Okay, I close this. I don't really use it much, but a staff member may if they're always opening it and saving things and refining them and re-adding to them. So let's say they start a document and they add some pages, and then tomorrow they want to add more pages. They may find this useful. Basically what it does, it says, do you want to desktop annotate, which means use these desktop annotation tools. Do you want a new document? Do you want to open a document that you've already saved? Look for recent files. Do you want to open your doc cam? Do you want to open a web browser? I think that's kind of silly, but anyways, it's there. And so if they don't want to see this, they're not going to use this, you can just check this, do not display when opening Easy Interactive Tools. That's usually what I do. I don't love to have it there, but I'll leave it here and we'll go right to desktop annotation. And all that does is make these tools active. There's 2 distinct set of tools. Okay, this is the command toolbar, that's what they call it. And this is the annotation toolbar. The annotation toolbar shows up on this side, but notice this little arrow over here. So whatever side the instructor's standing on, it opens up on either side for them to use. Okay, and they're able to go either way, so you don't have to walk across to find it. And annotation is simply exactly that. I'll go through them, but basically you're annotating over top of anything. You've got your pen tools. It also allows you to go back and forth between mouse and annotation. So right now, there's no drawing because I'm in mouse mode. Okay, I can manipulate, I can move, I can open any program that I have. I can, I have full mouse control when I have that mouse selected. If I want to point something out, notice how that mouse is no longer selected. I'm now in pen control or annotation mode, right? So now I don't have the ability, it actually is letting me. I usually don't have the ability to manipulate and move things, only those toolbars. I can't open things here. I'm drawing on them because I don't have it in mouse mode, okay? It's allowing me to do my tools, but as soon as I want to do that, I go back to mouse, and I'm here, and it selects it. On that note, when you're selecting things, the pen button, if I hover over top of this, or I tap and right-click, I actually double-tapped in that case, sorry, let me redo that again. If I right-click over top of this, it brings up my right-click menu, okay? I'm just hovering over and pushing the button. That's how the preset comes on these pens, is to have it be a right-click button, okay? It's double-tapping is just like double-tapping a mouse, right? So double-tap with the pen, double-tap with your finger. Did it actually open something? The pen didn't double-tap. Let me make sure that preset is still set. Yeah. And you can change the speed of that tap just like you can change the speed on your mouse. So if someone would rather have it be slower, there's the settings to do that. But otherwise, the mouse and the finger are just the same as how you would normally use your mouse control. Okay, so I'm going to go through some of the command tools for you. Here's that home button. Brings up home. They want to get back to that? That's that home button right there. Okay, so if they like that, they can go there. That's the spot that you can get to the home box after you close it. This save box is just simply where you're going to save your easy interactive tools. Now, the command tools, there's actually two different saving settings. I'll show you when I get out of this what that looks like. But basically, that's telling you where you're going to save as and the ways you can save. You can't see this up here, but there's a JPEG, there's a bitmap, there's a PNG file, there's a PDF, and then there's also easy interactive tools, which is what you'd go into if you want to add to something and come back to it tomorrow, because this is called easy interactive tools. So easy interactive tools is if you want to keep working on something. PDF, obviously you can publish, otherwise you save things as an image. So those are your three options, and the instructors should know that hey, if they want to post something to Moodle, or I don't know, whatever you use, Moodle. If you want to post something to Moodle, you would save it as a PDF. And you could save it both as a PDF and EIT, and then come back tomorrow and work on the EIT. But obviously the PDF is a published file. Yes?
Easy interactive tools, where does that save?
Well, so you would have to tell it where to go. I'm going to see where it originally, it's a good question. I'm going to see where, so right now it's in Terry's My Documents in a folder called Easy Interactive Tools. So it's, where is that? That's on the computer itself? Okay. So if you want them to save to the network, the shared staff, like the O, you'd want to go in here and have them save it there. They definitely want to change that though, otherwise it's kind of hiding out in the middle of.
To either their network drive, because if they save it to the computer, it could potentially be lost.
Right. So you're absolutely right. You're going to want to, and the same with, we'll get to the DocCam. If they want to save a DocCam recording, they're going to have to tell it where to go as well. So you definitely want to have it path. So then the question would be, I'm guessing if I have it saved here, Terry, can I just save like a blank file in there, or like a file in there for you? I just want to see if it'll remember. I'm thinking it will remember, but. No, it went back. Or maybe I didn't finish it. Just a second here. I don't think I finished it. So let's call it Epson test. Notice how the on-screen keyboard just popped up. There is a spot, the keyboard tools is in the toolbox too, but let's say Epson test. Then I'll have to find it. Maybe I should
Change it to the N drive.
N drive. Oh yeah, that makes more sense. No, it didn't change. Come on. There we go. I'm going to hit save. Okay, so it's saved. Now let's see if it remembers that. It should. But not remembering it though. There it is, but it's not remembering it. There has to be a way to change that. All right, we'll figure that out before I leave. Okay. All right, so saving, they're going to want to do that, but I'm hopeful there's a way to keep that to save. This is page up and page down. We don't have a lot of pages in here yet. I'll show you what that means. Basically, when you add pages to your document, you can go up and down. This other tools has a lot of cool features in it. I'll go through them really briefly. Everything I really want to have, well, I want to open this box first, though. Let me get a couple documents in here, a couple things in here. And then I'll go through some of these, and I'll show you how I did them. Oh, here, let's open the logo. I'll show you what I do here. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So when I go through these tools, this is a zoom tool on the tools. There's some cool tools in here. This is the zoom tool, and how you use the zoom is you tap it, you make a box around this, and then it'll zoom in. It'll actually open up a new document to enlarge this. So if they had something they wanted to zoom in on, that's how they would do a zoom. Okay, it could be any text that they have. In this toolbar also, you've got a flashlight, okay, teaching tool, but you can move this around, you can change it, so grabbing on the gray will make this bigger, and then you grab anywhere else and you can move this around. You can make the opacity anything you want. There's a spot for it to make it 100% dark or black, otherwise you can kind of see a little bit of this. You can also make this a rectangle, it's one of the tools, and then you X out when you're done. You also have a screen shade, so you could be working on a problem. You can grab this and you can slowly move it down so you can reveal things, and you can also reveal it this way as well. Okay. You saw me earlier, I actually on this page added a background. Okay, so that's what this first button is here. It's add a background, and you can select a background, one that's preset, or you can actually find one in one of your drives or your folders. So if you had music folks, you could do music notes, whatever. If they had a background they wanted to use, they could pull that up. Okay, pretty simple and easy. You could grab something from your monitor, right? You could grab something from one of your folders, from your library, or you could actually grab an image from the .cam too and make it your background. Now you're making it a background, it's not a picture inserted, it's actually the full background. There's a way to insert a picture as well, okay? But the background people really like. I don't know what it is, but it's nice to have a preset and that color. If they're working on, algebra or whatever else it is, there's grid lines. Okay, so I'm selecting a background. This is to select an image or insert an image here. And this is going to take them to find an image. Oh, let's do Mr. Koala today. Okay, and now so they can pull in an image of anything from any of their drives. And with this, I'll get into this, but you then, if you want to move it, manipulate it, or change it, you can use this select tool over here. You can tap this, and now you have the ability to rotate it, move it around, make it bigger, however you want. All right, this is your print option. So you can print from here. You can find this. It actually has one note. If there's a printer on here, you're able to print. Okay. What else is in this toolbar? These are your settings that you can change. Your toolbar size. You can make your toolbar smaller. There's your spotlight shape. There's a right click. Here's where you can say change it to mouse mode or change between pen and eraser. So there are right click settings here. We have a little bit different color palette. I'll show you the colors, but there's palette 1, palette 2. So if they don't love the colors they have here, there's other palettes. You can auto clear the screen, and you can do a preset thin of the pen, or you can do a thick. And that's just in general, right? So then we've got some other things. Now, these are details, but just know they're here. If you have someone ask you, hey, can we do these things? Enlarge the screen. Here's language. What other language do we have? Spanish looks like we've got, 20 plus languages in here. So if you needed to change the language, here's the saving. Maybe this is where here it is. So you can go in and tell it where you want to save it. Hopefully it'll stay there, right? Let's try that instead. What did we say? N. Want that to be the default. So it's just going to go in N regular. Okay, and I'm going to say okay. And then we're going to go back and look at saving here. Very good. Nope. Hold on, there's two saving settings, so just a second here. Whiteboard mode. And I'll talk about what the difference is between the two here in a second. Now it's set to the preset. Okay. So this is called whiteboard mode when I have all my pages over here. When I add pages, I'm in whiteboard mode. Notice I'm in this whiteboard mode here. So whiteboard mode, and then this is annotation mode, which gives me my blank screen. So when I go to whiteboard mode and I'm saving all of this stuff and I hit save and get out of this, exit out of the program, it says, do you want to save your whiteboard mode annotations? That's saving all these slides somewhere. Okay, I say yes, and then it will say, do you want to save your annotation mode stuff? Which means that when I'm in this mode, it's a different saving setting. So I might have a website up and I might have annotated over top of it and it's saving. So that's why there's two different spots for saving that I had to change it to that mode, that end space, right? So that's something you're maybe going to want to do. The question will be, people will have to know that because you have different instructors coming in all the time. I wonder if is there a folder you guys can create that every computer goes to and then they know that, I don't know, it's up to you how you want to handle it, but obviously that computer everyone uses. Yeah?
Well, the way you did just save that, does that mean anybody that accesses this one, it will go to Terry's?
No, Terry's logged in here.
Okay.
So the question will be if,
Default to whoever's logged in.
I would hope that it would go back to the end mode or the end drive for whoever's in. So at the end, we can have someone else log in and make sure it does that. And hopefully it doesn't default back to just computer. Because it's saving the settings on the projector or on the computer for the pen tools. So that's a really good question. I'm guessing it would.
I mean, once they set it up, it's done.
Right. It's saying end drive. It's saying your name though, right? But end drive is just generic. Is that what you're saying? Probably for anyone. So if there's someone else's name, it would just go there. I don't know these network things. Sorry. I'm guessing that's the case. So okay. All right. Okay. All right. I'm going to go back to these tools just so you know they're here. There's some camera settings. Here's where it will save the recorded video. We're going to get to camera next. But another thing, save it here and camera images. So this is for and this is for still shot. So this would be something too if they're actually going to record their doc cam, you're going to have to tell it where to save as well because it's going to look for a saving spot. Okay? So that's where that will be also. There's also something called no audio or select audio device. I'm not sure you have audio control, but it's looking towards the audio device for audio. If you don't want it to save audio because it's a large file, you can choose that. This is the whiteboard mode. Whiteboard mode says, do you want the pages on the left or the right or the position of the whiteboard command? You can move it top, bottom, okay? And that's this guy here. And let's see, last thing is projector, and this is if you had a network projector on here. So not that you need to know all of these things, but you know they're there to find some things that you can change. And that was all within the tools in this, the settings box. This is the on-screen keyboard. If you just want it to pop up, there it is. You can find it that way. And this will actually capture the image that you took. So basically it's a screen capture and it's copying and pasting. So you hit it and it's like nothing happened. Okay, but if you go to whiteboard mode and you now have a paste button up here. Now the paste button is shown up. It's not super intuitive. You hit paste and it grabbed that screen capture that you took. So it's actually just a screen capture on that. Let me do that one more time. So you saw what I did, and I'll go through the page added as well. So if I wanted to capture this image, I take screen capture, it flashes, doesn't seem to do much. I go to a new page, I have a paste and it's here, and it's going to paste that. It's not real intuitive. It's there if they want to do a screen capture. All right. I feel like this is really dry, but... All right, and then last but not least on this, well, I've been using some of these because they're up there. So you've got, this is actually a new document. Do you want to save these changes and it would open a new document? I'm going to say, I'm going to get out of this. I don't want to lose what we have, not that there's much, but that's it. That's the new document button. This is open a document. So if you had any IT tools, something or another, you can find that and open that up. And then this shows your pages over there. It's your page list. So you can go up and tap on something else that you were on. Okay, these two look the same now. But you can have that page document open. It likes to hide if you don't lock it. We've got these little locks up here. So now I unlocked it, and it'll slide over after about 5 seconds. You'll see 5 or 7 seconds. So I like to lock it because I'm always looking for it, and I need to see what my other pages are. But this is the page add. So notice how that went over. It's adding pages, but that hid. I have to hit this to show that I've added some pages. So I think this locking button, if people ask you, like, I can't keep seeing my pages, you can lock that open. And then that's copy a page, and then this is delete a page. Are you sure you want to delete the current page? Okay. And again, I'm in whiteboard mode. If I go back out to annotation mode, that stuff is still hanging out there in whiteboard mode. I just move between these two modes. I think your most important thing is mouse mode, pen mode, and whiteboard mode, and annotation mode. And that's these two buttons here. So command toolbar, whiteboard mode. Questions, thoughts? Kind of dry, but thanks for working through the save thing with me. I save it. I actually don't save much on it. I don't keep a lot of documents, but it's important. Okay. Oh, and last but not least, did we talk about this? We didn't. Camera. This is the camera mode in here. Okay, so this will see any USB camera. Of course, we like it to be an Epson camera because we have them, but as long as you have a USB camera connected to this, you're able to see that image up here. I don't use this very much, so I'm going to be honest. I only know a couple of the tools. We may fumble through a few of them. But we have the ability to screen capture a still shot or video record. So if you're actually working a problem under there or doing something, you can record that video. You can make this full screen. The full screen button is here. Okay, and you still have some of your tools there. And then, so to record something on this, pretend I was doing something amazing under there, I hit that record button. It's asking me what I want to call. Okay, so if I would have preset this into my N drive before, in those settings, it would go to my N drive. And Terry and I saved, but I'll backspace it out and just do test. It's an AVI file. There was something in the settings where you could change it. I think there's only 2 options for video record for what the file type is like. I'm going to hit save. Okay. Right, and now you'll see it's actually going to start recording. Where is it? Down there. You can see the numbers down there because I hit record. Okay, so it's now recording what I'm doing over here. Now here are your remote controls. Okay, and then I hit the stop button, and now my file, it says it's saved here, and you can either show that or not show that in the future, and I hit OK. And now I'll be able to go back and find that and play that file. Okay. You can, that's actually, that was interesting. That's taking a snapshot of that image and bringing it in. So this is actually insert image. You can see it looks like the insert image that's up here. I can hit insert image and it's going to grab that image and throw it into my whiteboard files. And if you had another USB camera attached, or if your computer had a USB, you could actually find that USB there. There's the ability. When I do it, I have my computer shows up, and sometimes the .cam shows up at a trade show or something like that. Thoughts on that? Someone asked that question ahead of time. I don't know a ton about it, but you have the ability to do that. Okay, command toolbar. That's the command toolbar. It seems like a lot, but really I think things are intuitive, and I think once you set it up or people ask you where the saving stuff is or preset some stuff, They really don't have to do a lot unless they want to use some of these tools here or add pages. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go back over to annotation mode. If folks are, we just have, want to be able to annotate over top of websites, or they have online curriculum, or want to work around in Moodle, this is where they're going to spend the majority of their time. And this is the annotation toolbar. And a couple things, notice when I grab the gray areas, I'm able to manipulate and move them around. So not just stuck, you can have them be stuck, but if you grab the gray parts, you're able to move that toolbar around. In mouse mode, so that's clearly the top button. I'm going to draw a couple things just to do undo and redo quick, but I'll go back and talk about those. So this is your undo button. It's going to undo the last whatever things that you've done, and then there's obviously redo, so that's pretty self-explanatory. We've got a shapes area with different colors and solidity, so you know that's pretty easy and pretty easy to figure out. And you can do thicker, you can pick a different color. Okay. This is a text toolbar, so they can add text. So you click the text and then you can type in here. Your keyboard will pop up. I'm able to change it to blue, and I can say not super, as I said, I don't love using this onboard keyboard. I think it's kind of slow and putsy, but it's there. I think with this Windows, you can actually type to text, or you can do cursive to text because it's using Windows Ink. So if you had someone who wanted to be fancy, they could actually write in cursive and show up through Windows Ink. And then in order to manipulate that, if I wanted to make that bigger, I'm still in my text mode. I can grab this, and I can make it bigger. I can move it around. Oops, here it is. So have that ability. Select, you've noticed I've used that. I can select anything, and I can drag, select and move it around. Grab any of these. This is your pen tools, and notice the preset is here. Some people want a little skinnier. You can go skinnier, and here's the first preset of colors. Those are the only colors in this palette. The other palette that I saw in those settings, you can change these palette settings, or you could do thickness. So this is your pen tool here. These are preset pens. So this is a thick blue, and this is a skinny blue. They're just presets. So those three colors are there because people use red, blue, and black a lot. Okay? So if you want more pen colors, this is your pen, and if you want more pen thicknesses, this is where you go for different pens. This is a highlighter, and there's different presets and colors for highlighter as well. So that obviously just means they're going to be opaque, and so it's hard to show on this when it's not white, but you're actually seeing things through that. So this is your highlighter pen and your highlighter options. And again, we've done these presets, and this is an eraser, and this is just a thick eraser. This is a skinny eraser for something real small, and then this is erase all, and it literally just erases all. Okay, you can, when they first start, they'll get a notice, are you sure you want to erase all? I get rid of that. It's like, if I'm going to clear the screen, I'm going to clear the screen. It is. But they can keep that if they want to make sure they want to erase. You can keep that. And then this is a lock button. Always show the toolbars. It'll never hide. Sometimes it drives people crazy when that goes away after 7 seconds. Otherwise, when I step away and don't use it for a while, that's going to hide that toolbar if I don't have that locked. Okay?
If you hover over that area, does it come back up?
It does, and you'll almost always see this, or you can close it or snap it in that way, but I have it always showing. So now it'll actually hide, but you'll always see this guy. That's always there, but it'll snap them in after, I think it's 7 or 8 seconds of not using it. So these are pretty easy, and then this thing is great because it tells you what you did last. It is interesting because it looks like this is my orange pen. Orange is blue. It remembers what you did last, but those all went to black, and I wonder why that is. So this one's going to always be my highlighter. Pink highlighter. So now you can see that's pink highlighter, and my finger is my eraser, which is kind of cool because I can do this, and I can erase this, and I can just write with one, and you can always make your finger erase. Or, people will figure out their own stuff. It remembers what you did last, and then it shows you what you did in case you're wondering here.
At the beginning, you made a statement that if somebody drops a pen,
Mm-hmm.
But if we get stuck,
Mm-hmm.
how do you unstick it?
Sure. You have to send it in for warranty. Or you have to replace the pen tip. The pen tips are like, they're like $5 a piece. I think you can buy a 3-pack or something. These are under warranty. 3 full years. Unless you snap it in half, we're not going to deny you a warranty exchange. Don't tell them that it was dropped. Oh, we're usually a 24-hour turnaround. If you call it in by noon one day, on ours, you'll get it by 2 or 3 o'clock the next day. So we have a 24-hour warranty exchange. That's the same with the projector. So we don't say next day, because sometimes people call it in at 2 or later. Our warranty area is in Indy, and they're an hour ahead, so they may not get it to you the next day if you call it in after 2 p.m. But we're 24-hour ship, next day shipping. If this is badly damaged, they may question you, because they will ask for it back, but they'll exchange one.
Potentially, I see those getting dropped a lot.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. Yeah. And sometimes it makes them stick and sometimes it doesn't. If they just drop, they're probably fine. But if they drop on the tip, it's probably going to jam it. Because you can feel, you felt it, this has some give to it. And we do have pen tips. I don't know how to fix a pen tip. I have very few people order pen tips. I suppose people who are out of their 3-year warranty may. I don't know how easy it is. I know there's instructions in the box to do it, but I don't know how easy it is to do it. If you have the majority of your folks buying pens, using pens, you may want to buy some extra, just to have them. They are $50 a piece, though, once you're past warranty. I know. Finger works, as long as it's set up, finger works all the time. I know people like pen, but finger does work, and so you have that option, and that's why a lot of people like the finger touch, that if you lose a pen, I know, the pens drive you guys crazy. I know, well, I know, that is the hard part about that, but it's nice to have the option of both. But you're right. I don't know how fragile they are. They've been through a lot, and we're pretty good about replacing without question, but they usually will ask you to ship it back. And they give you a label to ship it back, so there's no cost to do it. It's just your time.
These classrooms are used constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have multiple teachers using the same room and the first teacher damages the tip accidentally or one of her students or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
then all the teachers after that don't have access to that if
Yeah.
they're relying on that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. You may just want to have, like, on campus a couple extra pens. So, yeah, they're pretty good about that. What other questions do you have? Questions, thoughts, comments, concerns, anything? Yes? Yeah.
When you are drawing on the board there,
Mhm.
does it show up on the monitor?
It does.
It does? Okay.
Yep, it does when you're in PC annotation mode, right? Because it's using the computer to, so if I draw on this, does this turn around without me hurting it? You can see it here because it's software based. So everything, yep, if I go here, I'm using the projector pen tools. I'm using PC free annotation, and then nothing is going to show up here, right? You've got nothing. And it remembered what I did before, all my scribbling before. I can erase all that, right? But it's still seeing my background because I'm on my computer mode. So this is the stuff that's back in computer. So it can be really confusing, especially if you stay on the same source, okay? If you have another source attached and you just switch sources, it automatically switches to PC free annotation.
Can we demonstrate that?
Sure.
So if somebody changes to, on the video switch, if they change to the document camera, you should be able to annotate
Oh yeah.
what's on the document camera.
What source is this?
We're still using the HDMI source.
HDMI 2? No. Same HDMI. You can annotate on this. It's working. Here it is. Yeah. So I'm just curious what source we're on.
So I'm just changing the source.
Oh,
This
yeah.
device here.
It's still working. That's great.
So at this point, you could use the
So,
annotation.
so it's up there, but my pen tools will not show up on that monitor because I'm like, hey, here's how you record. They're not there. They're a projector overlay. So if people say, oh, I really wanted to save this on my computer, in this way you could not, like the annotations here.
So you need to do it through them.
You have to run it through the projector computer to save those images in Easy Interactive Tools. But it's great if you just want to throw like a dissection or something up and you don't care to save it. You just want that just in time. Like, kids, let's take our, hey, whatever, whoever it is, hey, let's take a peek at this, right? So you're able to do that. And so now when you switch sources, notice, well, so let's try this. Hold on. Would it have automatically switched me into PC-free annotation? Will you turn that back to the computer once a second? Okay, so the projector has a way of sensing what sources are being plugged in. I'm not sure, because I was thinking if you wanted to hide that thing. Maybe you don't want to because of that. So here we are. We've got our pen controls. Switch your source to the dot cam. I want to see if it'll automatically put it in PC-free annotation mode. Nope. Because you still have it on HDMI 1. If it was HDMI 2, it would automatically switch to PC-free. So now, here I am. I don't have those controls, and if an instructor wanted to annotate on this, they'd have to go to PC-free. Okay, and that's because it's staying on HDMI 1. If it was a different input, it would automatically switch to this, and these would just pop up, and the instructors would see it. I don't know if this is that important when they can do it with that document camera button on the software, because then they can just save it there. But I just wanted to see if it would do that. Usually when you switch sources, the projector will automatically switch that over for you. Okay, let's switch it back over. Does that make sense? Okay, all right. So it's a cool feature, but can be confusing. Do you want to know where to turn that off? I can or not. I can show Terry too. But any other thoughts, questions? Oh. What did I say I was going to come back to? Should I show them calibration? Finger touch, just the one that I did with the dots? Maybe? Okay. When I walked in this morning, there wasn't quite perfect calibration down here. The finger touch was just off a little bit. And that could happen if the box gets moved, or if sometimes even if the image size changes, someone plugs in a different resolution. So in order to finger touch calibrate, I showed you the user button is for the pens, right? So I hit the user button. I'm not going to do that, but that's what is for the pens. Okay, in order to finger touch calibrate, where you're telling it, hey, here's my image size, please stay here, I go to the toolbar and I hit the menu. Oops. I go to extended, easy interactive functions, where I found that's where I found my hovering. And I go touch unit setup, and I do touch calibration. So it's quite a ways in there. I'm not sure you need to get in there, but at least you can see. It says make sure that it's focused, hit yes. And then I actually have to hold down for 2 seconds, and I can't quite reach it, so I won't do it. But you hold down for 2 seconds, and this green dot will move around. You touch each of the spots. It'll take about 3 or 4 more seconds, and then it'll be touch point calibrated. You use that after someone's installed it, put up the finger touch unit, and they've already done all the other inside calibration, which only you guys know about. This little box up here has a cover that you can take off, and these guys know how to install it that way, and there's these knobs in there. That's the initial calibration. This is just kind of a fine-tuned calibration for finger touch that you can try if for some reason your touch point isn't on. I'm going to escape out of this because I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to waste your time on that, but at least that's how you do the touch point calibration. Terry, what else did I miss? Is this helpful? Does it help? Okay. Anyone else?
Right click when you're in mouse mode? Just doing the finger touch?
So, holding down does a right click. Good question. I thought I went over that, and I did pens. Yep. So if you hold down and you just hold on an icon, you get a circle, it pops up, and it gives you a right click. Very good question. And again, these are preset for right click on this. They're a little tougher to do with the pens, I think. I guess I just don't use the pens as much. I'm such a, I don't even take the pens out of the box half the time. I think it's just dependent on each user. But, see, I don't. There we go. I had to touch it and hold down to right click on this pen. So, so it's either just holding with the finger, right click. I didn't hold it long enough. Come on. There we go.
You said those batteries were rechargeable?
They are. Yep. In each room, do you think? Oh, right here, yep.
Oh, okay.
This came in each box, and there's 2, and so you can just put them in and put them back out. They'll work with any battery, yeah, any AA, sure, yep. And these are just the Enolope ones, so some people even buy an extra set of these because they have cheap on Amazon or whatever, an extra that you can always keep charged, because who wants to have a pen die in the middle of class, but yeah. All right, let me just think if there's anything else in here that I want to make sure I go over with you. Oh yeah, the website. Okay, last thing. I opened up this website earlier. So for your staff, if they want to know how to use some of these toolbars, it literally is everything I went over. We have this website, and you type in right link tutorial videos. This website has a ton, and unfortunately they kind of buried the toolbar stuff at the bottom, but this is the top of our website. Brightlink projectors tutorials. And literally there's an overview. Here's all the install videos, which, you know, teachers aren't going to need. And then there's calibration. This is network stuff, which you really wouldn't need to deal with. And we also have apps if you're on a network, which you wouldn't deal with. But here's the Brightlink features, and here's your easy interactive tools. And this one's 3 minutes. It's an overview. This one's 8 minutes. This one's 4 minutes. This is 3 minutes. So that would be a great way to just say, hey, if you're not sure, or you could show it, or you know, whatever else, they're there, and they're done really well. They literally walk through each of the tools in the toolbars. They tell you the difference between PC free and PC annotation. And then, yeah, here's your annotation using computer free, annotating with the doc cam. So the details on the cam here, that's only a minute and 10 seconds, but it's there. And so, yeah, there's little, and then I think this finger just talks about, there's another calibrating. And then there's some stuff on the pen tools too. So this would probably give you more details if you wanted to actually make the pen do other things that I don't know. And then there's even the remote control. So I think they did a pretty good job of doing real short snippets of videos if you need more information. So I guess I'd say maybe we could send that web link out, but they can search for Epson link videos or tutorials. And it'd be there, because it looks really long up there, but it's pretty easy to go through some of those. I think that's it, unless you guys have any other questions. I hope it was good. I know it's been an hour of me talking. Terry has my number, but if you had questions, you could ask me. Jeff's here. Want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Jeff. I'm with Business Technologies just down the road. We are a reseller on the East Pine products. So
That's right.
we can be a resource as well.
And they're right around the corner, right?
Yep.
That's right. And now you've seen it too, so you know some things. But Jeff knows how to get a hold of me too if there's something that's not working. Terry knows how to get a hold of me, kind of, right, Terry? I know, right? So, but yeah, let me know if I can help. But thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
Thanks. Thank you. I have a